Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Before I get into today's story, I just want to say if you're a parent watching this, please stay till the end. Because what I'm about to share completely changed the way I see my daughter, my home, and honestly, myself. Grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, because this one hit me hard. So it started on a completely ordinary Tuesday. You know those days where nothing feels special. You wake up, make breakfast, drop the kids off, go about your day. That was this day. My daughter Mia, she's 6 years old, full of energy, obsessed with butterflies and strawberry jam sandwiches, just the happiest little soul you've ever met. I dropped her off at school like any other morning. She ran in without even looking back, and I thought, okay, good day ahead. But then at around 2 in the afternoon, I got a call from the school asking me to come in and speak with her teacher. My heart dropped immediately. Every parent knows that feeling. The "can you come in" call never feels like good news. I got to the school and her teacher, Miss Farida, was waiting for me in the little side room they use for parent meetings. She had this expression on her face that I couldn't quite read. It wasn't alarmed exactly, but it was serious, thoughtful. She slid a piece of paper across the table toward me and said, "Mia did this in free drawing time today. I just wanted to talk to you about it." And I looked down at the drawing. Now, you have to understand, my daughter draws all the time. Our fridge is basically a gallery at this point. She draws our cat. She draws rainbows. She draws herself with wings sometimes because she told me once that she thinks she used to be a bird. So I was expecting something colorful and chaotic and sweet. But this drawing stopped me completely. She had drawn our house, the simple little house with a red roof the way kids do. And inside the house she had drawn me, her dad, her little brother, and our cat. Stick figures, hearts everywhere, very Mia. But she had drawn herself outside the house, standing in the garden, alone, small, with what looked like a tiny rain cloud above just her head while the rest of the family had a sun above theirs. I didn't say anything for a second. I just stared at it. And Miss Farida, very gently, said, "I don't want to alarm you, and children's drawings don't always mean what we think they mean. But I've been doing this long enough to know when something is worth a conversation." I appreciated that she didn't catastrophize it. She wasn't panicking. But she cared enough to notice, and she cared enough to call me in, and in that moment I was so grateful for her. I went home that afternoon and I sat with the drawing for a long time before Mia came home. I kept turning it over in my mind. Was she unhappy? Did she feel left out? Had something happened that I missed? You know how parenting guilt works. The moment something seems wrong, your brain immediately goes to every moment in the past 6 months where you might have been distracted, or snappy, or too busy. I thought about the weeks when work had been really stressful. I thought about how much attention her little brother had needed lately because he'd been unwell. I thought about a few times I'd had to say "not now, sweetheart" when she came to show me something. And I felt this weight settle in my chest. When she got home, I didn't immediately interrogate her. I'd read enough to know that sitting a 6-year-old down for a serious talk can make them shut down completely. So I just let her have her snack, watched her play for a bit, and then I sat down next to her on the floor while she was coloring and I said, very casually, "Hey, I saw the drawing you did today. The one of our house. I love it." And she looked up at me and smiled, and I said, "How come you drew yourself outside?" And she was quiet for a second, still coloring, and then she said, "And I will never forget this," she said. "Because that's where I like to be. I like being outside. It's my special place." I cannot tell you the wave of relief and then immediately love and then a little bit of laughter that I felt. I said, "Your special place," and she nodded very seriously and said, "Inside is everyone else's place. Outside is mine. That's where I go when I need to think." 6 years old, she had already claimed her own space for reflection. She wasn't drawing loneliness, she was drawing independence. She was drawing herself in her happy place. which happened to be the front garden where she liked to look at bugs and talk to the neighborhood. Cat that sometimes wandered through. But here's the thing, and this is the part I kept thinking about long after that conversation. The fact that I didn't know that about her gave me pause. I mean, I knew she loved being outside. I knew she'd rather be in the garden than watching television almost any day. But I hadn't understood it the way she understood it. I hadn't known that she had internally named it her thinking place. I hadn't really sat with her out there in her space and asked her what it felt like to be there. I realized I had been seeing her through the lens of what was convenient for me. Outside means playing, inside means she's available, and I hadn't fully honored the interior life she was already building at 6 years old. So the next morning, I went outside with her. I didn't bring my phone. I didn't bring a to-do list in my head. I just sat in the garden with her and I watched her do what she does. She crouched down to look at something near the flower bed. She pointed out a beetle to me with the kind of enthusiasm most adults reserve for lottery wins. She told me the names she had given to 3 different garden snails that apparently lived near the wall. And I was present, fully, properly present. And she kept looking over at me like she couldn't believe I was just there, just sitting, just watching her world. At one point she climbed into my lap even though she's been insisting she's too big for laps for at least a year. And she put her head against my shoulder and she said, "This is nice, Mama." And that was it. That was the whole sentence. But it meant everything. I went back and talked to Miss Farida later that week just to close the loop. And I thanked her. I thanked her genuinely because what she did took a certain kind of attention and a certain kind of courage. It would have been so easy to look at that drawing and think nothing of it, or to mention it to a colleague and move on. Instead, she called me in. She sat with me. She handled it with such grace. No alarm, no labels, just a teacher who saw a child's drawing and thought, "Let me make sure this child is seen." That's a rare thing. And I told her what Mia had told me about her special place, and Miss Farida laughed and said, "That makes complete sense actually. She's always the first one out the door at recess and the last one back in." Here's what I took from this whole experience and what I really want to leave you with today. Children are communicating with us constantly, not always in words. Not always in ways we immediately understand, but constantly. A drawing, a behavior, a pattern, a sentence thrown out casually at bedtime. These are all little windows. And most of us, myself absolutely included, are moving too fast to look through them. We're loading the dishwasher and answering emails and thinking about tomorrow, and we miss the windows. And I'm not saying that to make anyone feel like a bad parent, please hear me. We're all doing our best. And being busy doesn't make you a bad parent. But every once in a while, slow down enough to look at the drawing, ask about the rain cloud, sit in the garden and let your kids show you the beetle. Mia's drawing is now framed in our hallway. Not the original. Miss Farida kept that in her classroom, which I found incredibly touching, but Mia redrew it for me at my request. And this time she drew me in the garden with her. And she put a sun above both of us. And if that's not everything, I don't know what is. Thank you so much for watching. If this resonated with you, please share it with another parent who might need to hear it today. Drop a comment below and tell me, do your kids have a special place? I'd love to hear about it. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your little ones. And I'll see you in the next one.